Come on, Ellis. I can remember not everything. Only a moment. I was in Oberon's palace. No. Yes? Executed me. He remembers. Shinchori, thank you so much for the 5 months. Another one bites the dust indeed. Man, sorry I interrupted your text-to-speech lady. Thanks so much for all the support, my dude. Much love. Appreciate it. Have some pizza on me. Where's my pizza crew, guys? Man, the new Twitch dashboard is awful. And I can't find the button to put it back. Executed me, the original Idaho. I mean, for not bombing Ganima. And there was a woman there, a very frightened woman watching me. Rebecca. Yes, the original Idaho did not bomb the survivalists on Ganima. He refused. So Oberon executed him in front of Rebecca. Okay, so that leads two questions. Why did that dude tell us the story of us actually doing that? So Oberon must have told everyone we did. But we'd been so loyal to him. I've died hundreds of times in his name. The name of the man who killed me, and in front of the original's wife. I'm gonna still stand that we haven't died. We haven't even got the achievement of the first death yet. So apparently there were hundreds of really bad Idahos before us. Caliban should be grateful. The other Idaho we encountered, he was telling the truth. All these deaths of mine, it's all been for nothing. Everything I've believed is a lie. And you knew. You knew I never bombed Ganima. You knew what he did to me. You lied to me. I did, yes. It's what happened to all the other Idahos. They all remembered. Not everything. The inhibitor prevented a total memory recollection, but they remembered enough. The original's execution, and that ruined everything. Now, you will finally tell me the truth, machine, or I will end you. You're right. It's time you knew. I will tell you everything you want to know. At the end of the previous chapters, not the most recent previous one, but 1, 2, and 3. The ship doesn't go back to Gehenna. What does he do? Does he dematerializes the ship with the fold? Like he does one thing with the fold beacon. He sends it back to Gehenna, right? So does that count as a death anyway? So what was the point of the other Ellis trying to ram us? Was he trying to kill himself? What was he getting at? And how was he by himself? Did he somehow escape from Gehenna? Or did he just send Caliban out the airlock during one of the missions? I guess we'll find out. Who was he? That other Idaho. He was from the first strand. Strand A, Idahos. Strand A. The original Idaho clones. The first clones sent out into the Outer Rim 20 years ago when the Omnis shut down. You've been sending us out for 20 years? Yes. It wasn't long after we did that, Strand A started recalling this memory of your execution, despite the presence of your inhibitor. Upon remembering, some in Strand A came undone. Some fought their Calibans. Some were terminated by their Calibans. Some committed suicide. Some disappeared. And some did many of those things. The Idaho we encountered was one of those that got away. So that one must have has just been hiding somewhere in, where were we? Buendia? Kosh Buendia space for, 20 years, just doing what? Waiting for another one of us to come along? What did you do with the Strand A's? After countless experiences with Idahos like the one we just encountered, we terminated Strand A, tinkered with the inhibitor, and created Strand B. This took us a few years. You are Strand B, and all was going well. Sure, you were a little paranoid, but we could live with that. Then we ran into that Strand A. Or should I say, he ran into us. But why lie to me? Why didn't you tell me at the start that Omnis had shut down 20 years ago, and that I was not the first clone? You had to believe that you were the first clone, the first of Strand A, so that you'd ask as few questions as possible. We worried that the more you knew, the more questions you would ask, and the sooner you would destabilize psychologically, hence our encouragement not to investigate your past. It was very important you didn't destabilize. For yourself, for the crew, and for other versions of me, we needed you capable of saving a collapsed empire. Okay, I'm kind of... You feel no guilt for what you've done. To all those, the Idahos, the Ozus and the Lynches, sending us out from Gehenna to die over and over for a lying emperor. No, I do what I've been programmed to do. That is all. Morality does not enter into it. You should know that by now. Yeah, so even though he's a clone, it's almost like at the... And this is what's happened along the way. When we get to the end of a sector and Caliban does whatever he does at that folder, it like updates the memory of the current clones so that they're all starting their mission with all the stuff that the previous guys have learned. They're not just like blank slate clones from a certain point. But why did you use the inhibitor on the other crew members? Because many had anti-Oberon, anti-Imperial memories of their own. What made the inhibition process a bit trickier was that some also had memories of your rebellion, or of the anti-Imperial leanings of other crew members. Some serve together, some serve with you. Oh, that's right, it must be automagic. No, it doesn't need to be automagic if you lose a run, because if you lose a run, you're going to do that chapter again and get that information again anyway, right? Which would be fine if he's just picking it up from, like, if you beat chapter 1 and then all the clones become beaten chapter 1 clones. But if you don't, they don't get that information, so they go back to starting new clones. You know? But you're not going to tell them anything about this, Admiral. And why not? Because doing so will endanger the mission. Do you really think a crew full of individuals who despise their Emperor will help you reactivate the Omnis? Will help you save what remains of the human population? Help you see your wife again? They might. They might not. And you can't risk it. Damn it. But I have to tell them something about this other Idaho. They saw him. You are their Admiral, and at the end of the day, they'll do whatever you ask. That's how they've been trained. But if you insist, a partial truth should work. So how did they remember seeing him, unless he did something on the folder? Like, while the ramming was happening. A partial truth. Yes. Which is that there were other Idahos, other clones before you, that malfunctioned. Saving the future of humanity is a tremendous amount of pressure after all. Dying and watching your crew die thousands of times over and over. Tell them I didn't tell you because I was worried it might lead to your unraveling. And theirs as well. Well, that's true. Everything is, I guess, partial true. By this point, they've seen hundreds of themselves perish. Knowing there were hundreds more shouldn't affect them too much. Don't say anything about how you really died. There's no need to complicate things. Ask why Oberon executed the original Idaho? Yeah. Why did Oberon execute the original Idaho? Me! You'll have to ask him that yourself, but it appears he was not pleased his orders were refused. Why did the original refuse those orders? I think I know why, but I don't know exactly why myself, but it seems the original was seriously doubting Oberon and the Imperial cause, and had been for quite some time, and did not think that killing the survivalists and wiping out Ganima was a justified action. Yeah, but Ganima was wiped out. We were there. No, and with good reason. That was a crime against humanity. We have no more questions? I know what I need about this. Yeah, here we go. How do we receive the other Idaho's memories? Knowing that I would automatically download his memories and send them back to Gehenna if he was close enough when we died, that Idaho crashed his ship into ours, at which point I merged his memories into this newest version of you. Aha. We had no choice. That's how we're programmed, so well, that explains that. I have to hand it to him. It was a clever thing to do, but I wonder if only a madman could have gone through with such an idea. How many others have there been? Hundreds. Hundreds? We started the very day the Omnis shut down, the day the FoldNet shut down, just as we had been programmed to, roughly 8,000 days ago. The sectors being what they are now, some didn't even last a single day. But in all of our trying, we've never been as close as we are now. We have yet to solve the mystery of who shut down the Omnis, and we have yet to turn them back on, but we have never gotten so far. And the others like him. Other Idahos in the clusters? The truth is, if they haven't all died off, yes, it's possible. Ask why we haven't run into anyone who had encountered other Idahos. But why, if you send out so many Idahos, and some might who still be alive, haven't we run into any who encountered other Idahos, and why didn't the cluster bosses recognize us? We're talking about extremely vast clusters and extremely vast sectors. The chances that these individuals would have encountered another Idaho, another NS Odysseus, are extremely slim. But you're forgetting, we did run into some of the same people. There were clues that they had run into previous Idaho clones. You just didn't pick up on them. You couldn't have. As for the cluster bosses, it's possible the other Idahos avoided them. There are other routes to take, other folders and hubs. A faulty, paranoid Idaho might have avoided cluster bosses, especially if he no longer cared about the saving Empire. Yeah, maybe. If we were the first of Strand B, maybe we're the first ones to actually, take the fight to them. Wow. Ellis, Idaho 1142. Need to go back and look at the first playthrough and see what number that was. Tell me the real purpose of this planet, Caliban. The purpose of Gehenna has always been to save the clusters. We have always been, I believe, the Empire's ultimate contingency plan, just as I said. But I don't suspect we were created for a scenario such as this. You talk like you don't know. I don't. I am in the dark myself. What I suspect is that we were created for a situation in which the machines turned against us. Well, against the humans and the Empire. When the Omnis shut down 20 years ago, the FoldNet and folders did too, and that was our cue to start sending clones out into the Outer Rim. I suspect that our objective shifted, without us necessarily being aware of it, when we failed to encounter hostile Omnis. Our original objective might have been to find and destroy Omnis. But when we failed to find any to destroy, we found ourselves drawn to trying to turn them back on and vanquishing Imperial enemies who had come into power, the clusters in the meantime. Why were you chosen to be part of this? Was it punishment for disobeying him? Did he want to turn him, into his slave? Punishment? I don't know. That's a question only he can answer. What we're sure of is that he chose the original, in part, because he was the best. That part was never a lie. The original was the strongest, bravest, most willful, the only one capable of possibly defeating the machines. You were exactly the admiral he wanted for his project. I suspect even when you disobeyed his orders in Garnima, so he took those memories away via the inhibitor, knowing that if you ever remembered what had happened, you'd rebel. Yet despite the inhibitor, this memory found a way to rematerialize. Perhaps because it was the most painful memory you had. That's it, we're done. You have yet to ask what I thought you would have done by now. Don't worry, Caliban. I'll ask it yet, don't you worry. Ask to receive all the Idaho's memories? And this memory tech, this inhibitor, it's still active inside me? It is. That's why you still can't remember everything. That's why your memory is limited to your execution, and why your one memory of your wife is of her in the moments before your death. Then remove the inhibitor machine. Now. Given how painful your present memories are you sure you want the others? Machine? I can't. I'm not programmed for that. Only Oberon can tell me to turn the inhibitor off the inhibitor. You will answer me, machine. Ooh. and tell me why I shouldn't kill you. I am tempted. You have effectively killed hundreds of me, have you not? I should kill hundreds of you. I thought you might ask that. All I can say is, because you need me, because you need us. Need you? Machine that's told me nothing but lies, that has sent me out to die hundreds of times. I need to tear you apart is what I need to do. You're too angry to think clearly. I guess without me, you can't use the folders. Without us, you could never see your wife again. She could be dead for all I know. Yes, but you can't say for certain. Or Schrodinger's wife. Also, we will still share a common goal, thought for different reasons. As much as you may now detest Oberon, and myself for that matter, you still want to save what remains of humanity. So do I. But not because I really want to, because I have to. So the way I see it, you would be acting against your own interests if you killed me. Well, you could kill this particular version of me if you wanted to, but I have my replacements. You will not want to kill all of us, nor will you be able to. I may kill you yet. Well, fine. If that makes you feel better, go ahead and kill the version of us. But I must tell you something. What is it? If you try to kill Oberon when we see him, I'll have to stop you. I've been programmed to protect him. Do you understand? I understand, machine. What more can you tell me about Rebecca? I know nothing beyond what we have learned on our journey, and nothing beyond your one memory of her. You two love one another very much. That's obvious. But I have a feeling you will learn more about her in the next cluster. Admiral, call it omni-intuition. Much as I want to end you, machine, you're right. I'm more interested in turning the machines back on and helping the people of these clusters. Right. And in seeing Rebecca once more, if she still lives. Let's not forget about that. One last thing before we continue. Remember what I said about Oberon? Try anything, and I'll be forced to stop you. I'll keep that in mind, machine. Excellent. Now come on. Let's meet this Emperor of ours. In the Hammer class. What's the other one called? Void. Get that the title. Default hull bar 3 by 125. Yeah. Okay, we can get all squadron docks out. We get no squadron system support. Squadron docks recovery, I think 2 points is where you really want it. That's like bonus. We do get a little bit extra weapon and weapon support. We get lots of hull, like we get all the hull stuff. And we're starting with a lot of it. Like, it seems extremely defensive, right? Like the plasma nuke is highly defensive. Big range, not so much damage. Frigates with fighter support. Okay, Sister Calypso is back and ready to go. That means Jodie Red will be back next fight. Kara Moon be ready to fight after. We have a... How do you not put Sister Calypso in? So we can start off with 5 different skills, which is great. So officers have skills in 2 skill sets. I think one of the biggest things when we go for higher difficult, like the hard mode ones, is trying to get 6 different skill sets straight away, or at least 5. And if you can get so this is good because it means we can get an officer later with these 2. You at least want to get 5 different ones at the start. But then if you can get a 3 with like some interlocking. Yeah, the squad ability is useless, so that's a thing. But deployment zone's pretty useless anyway to start with. I honestly don't think the ship help is more important. I mean, something like squadron speed, also less useful. Critical effect repair speed is good, if you're planning on taking damage, or emergency repair again if you're looking at taking damage. Lethal firing can be pretty fun if you like have an offensive weapon. But I think in this case we get between Callan and Sister Calypso, we get 5 skills covered, which is really good for ground missions. And it means if we get a soldier with those 2, we can quite easily cover the remaining 4 with 3 extra officers. That's a healthy start on ground missions. Here we are, the heartland of the Empire, Admiral. The people of these sectors will be delighted to see you. I hope so. Happy to see me. You forgot, machine. People here think Admiral Idaho is dead. That can be corrected, Admiral. And will be as soon as they see you. Come on, crew. Let's take a look around. It's been a long time coming, but we're finally home. Alright. So the other thing too is we want to get early, not shipyard. Can we get an upgrade here? If I close map here. First fuel scavenge costs 60. Dirty, okay. We want to get like the mercenary outpost because that's where you get the extra officers. And since we can't see what's what, might just have to count. We get 5 jumps. And I'd like the ground missions. I think we're sort of like 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we choose. That gives us 3 ground missions. We get to hit this one and we get to choose one of these 2. And there's a cryopod at that one. Wow. Yeah, this is the part of the game where no one wants to fight us. Caliban 2019. Let's attempt to make some contact. Not some combat. Answer the phone. Oh, okay. Send in the clone mandos. Yes, sir. No humans dead or alive in here, sir. No omnis either. We're outside the hangar. The station's computer system won't even let us in without clearance. Ask the specialist to hack into the door. There we go. Good job for you, Lieutenant. Hack Lean and his troops into that hangar. On it, sir. Hacking my way in now. Good job, Cullen. Yeah, also for blue options as well, right? That did the trick, sir. Gotta love nerds. Moving in. Oh, come on, bro. Don't be like that. You can be happy, sir. We found a squadron in the hangar. Bringing it back with us now. Hey, we got some boomers. Drone Mark II boomers. Okay, we're going to take the cryopod first, go to the shipyard and then the anomalies. Greetings, fellow Imperial. What brings you your fearsome battleship to our humble planet? We haven't upset the fleet, have we? Upset the fleet? No, of course not. Good, good. Excellent to hear. I don't believe I've seen your ship around this sector before, Commander. Must be new to your position. Strange. What is? You remind me of someone who died a long time ago. Someone no one talks about much anymore. He doesn't recognize Admiral Idaho? Don't you want to tell him who you are, sir? For some reason, I have a feeling we'll learn more if I keep my identity hidden for the moment. Of course, sir. Ask Lord Helio why he's nervous. Is our presence making you nervous, Lord Helio? Nervous? Why would an Imperial battleship make me nervous? After all, the fleet is what keeps my planet and people safe. Without your protection, our citizens would be good as dead. But I must say, someone already came by. Commander Starr, in fact. What do you mean? Our people have already contributed to this month's securitization fund. Oh man, the fleet's turned into the mob. Securitization fund? You act like you don't know, Commander. All the planets and stations around here contribute, and if they don't, then, well, their enemies attack, don't they? What enemies? You know, our enemies. The enemies who will attack if we don't pay the securitization fund. Those kinds of enemies. Is he saying what I think he's saying? He is. The fleet's threatening to attack the planet and the stations in this cluster unless they're paid off. There must be some mistake. House Telos would never do something like that. Who controls these sectors now? Strange question for a commander in the very same cluster to ask, is it not? But I'm happy to answer it for you. Emperor Oberon, of course, reigns supreme, but Admiral Okonkwo is more hands-on. Has been for years now. Admiral Okonkwo. He was promoted? Oh, that's right. When Admiral Idaho died heroically in Ganima, Oberon made Okonkwo his second in command, and I might say, completely unprompted of course, what a great admiral he is. Lord Brownnoser of the House of Telos would be a better name for this guy, I think. Okay, so he must have executed Oberon in front of Rebecca in a very closed ceremony, and then told everyone. So how did the ship do the thing that the ship did? And do you know where I can find Admiral Okonkwo? Easy. His commanders have ships all around here. Can't miss them, even if you tried. But I'm not saying anybody would want to miss them. I'm not saying that at all. Wow. What else can you unless they're all radio bugged. What else can you tell me about Okonkwo's commanders? They're the best the Academy has ever produced. The smartest and bravest. You control these sectors, and I'm glad. I'm getting very much Fight Club vibes. Like he's saying what he thinks we want to hear, like we're testing him. There he goes lying again. Do you have another question, Admiral? What's the name of the dude? Tyler Durden? What can you tell me about Oberon? Have you seen Tyler Durden? I've never seen this man. Have you seen the photo of this guy? No, I never. I know he's in his palace on Elysium. I don't know if the rumors are true, but it's said he hardly ever leaves now. It's said he's lost interest in his empire and sits on his throne all day, brooding and waiting for someone. Waiting for who? I don't know, but surely those rumors are wrong. Surely Oberon is well and fine. After all, he's Emperor Oberon. Unless we are actually, unless our apparent descent from being an imperial lover was an undercover ploy to find a mole in the army, and it was Okonkwo. And Oberon's sad and either housebound under martial law or afraid for his life. And we have to rescue him from Okonkwo, who set us up to steal our wife because he was in love with her, but she loves us. Suit yourself. You're in charge here, not me. How can we help his plan? Anything I can do to help you and the people of your planet? Help us. I'll just keep our enemies away. That's help enough, Commander. My people and I want for nothing under the protection of Okonkwo and his fierce ships. From what I can tell about his planet, sir, food is scarce, and its people are suffering terribly. Ask Lord Helio about Earth. Have you ever heard of a planet named Earth? I'm sorry, Commander, but I have not. Why? Are its citizens late in their securitization payment? Well, then I guess their enemies will soon attack, won't they? Too bad for them. Okay, what can you tell me about the shutdown? I've already told the fleet many times. I know nothing. One moment my omnis were working, and the next they weren't. For a second I thought they were playing a practical joke on me. Can you imagine that? The fleet inquired about the shutdown? That's right. There was an investigation headed by the Prague Ma, I believe. Several inspectors travelled around these sectors asking questions. But the investigation ended years ago. Oberon must have been satisfied with the results. I even expected the omnis to turn on again. But it never happened. But they'll turn on again soon, right? Not that I'm getting impatient or anything. We can probably hold on for another 5 years. Wow. Let's push on. There must be a reason the fleet rules these sectors with fear and threats. Leaving so soon? Well, it was a pleasure, Commander. Be sure to tell Admiral Conquo that Lord Helio sends his abundant praises. Yeah, that's messed up. Hack the planet. Oof. Wow, we needed a, looks like we needed someone with more soldiery stuff. Alright, well, do your best. Try not to get yourself injured. Can we retreat at the first extraction point after if we get the cryopod? Do we get that officer? Good. 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 Oh, Thiago! Guys, Mattias, stop standing on the landmines. Okay, come on. Yes? No? Oh, Christos. That actually went pretty well. What's happening to my minions? They're dying. Well, not all of them. 3 of them died. Okay, reasonable.